night, one of the attorneys offered the lady, her last name is, I don't know how to pronounce it, it's Hute. One of the attorneys offered her $100,000 for hush money, but when she found out more ladies were coming forward, she upped it to $250,000. So I don't know what that part was about, but in my opinion, I absolutely believe he's guilty. And on the on the Duggar case, like Alex said, I don't know which way to say it, or Jordan, you might have said it.
Yes,
that family is that family is just very dysfunctional, and I don't know much about that one. And Alex, you're right about cases. Money talks. Money can buy a lot of these people, but it sure didn't buy Hernandez. That's for sure. The video said it all. And Ann, you may want to answer this because you covered it. Since his girlfriend was involved in quite a bit of it, should charges be brought against her? I mean, she helped. I was wondering about that.
Well, Wanda, and thanks for calling in. You're always great. I think, as I remember it, I think that she went. There was a grand jury indictment, as I remember, and then she was able to work out an immunity deal with the prosecutors, and then she agreed to testify against Hernandez, and so she didn't go to jail. But when she testified, she was pretty vanilla. She was kind of like saying there was an object, I don't know what it was in the box, I went and put it in an unknown dumpster, they couldn't find the dumpster, she couldn't really help them find the dumpster. So what she really gave the prosecution was, I'm the one, and she's on video doing this, remember, Wanda, when she's taking what we know is the gun, and he sent this kind of cryptic note to her about you can find it by the baby's crib or whatever, and get it out of the house. But so that's kind of the history of where his girlfriend was in that case. They didn't play around, those prosecutors. They were tough and they were systematic. They did a great job.
Well, I did watch her on the stand, and thank you for telling me that, because when she did testify, I did notice I didn't know that there was a deal.
There's a deal.
Well, thank you so much for telling me that.
Sure.
I did not know, and I was wondering. I watched her testify and all, but I didn't know that there were charges. So that's why she testified against him. So thank you so much for that.
Sure, Wanda. I don't think that Wild Horses would have dragged her up to that witness stand unless that she was in that situation.
Absolutely. Well, I best go because there's other callers, I'm sure, waiting. I could talk to y'all all night long. I just love y'all so much. Y'all are
Merry
so
Christmas,
great.
Wanda.
Thank you, and happy holidays and a happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, Ann, Alex,
Merry
Dwane,
Christmas, Wanda.
And the king of all of it, who makes all this happen, King Jordan. So,
thank you, Wanda.
Hail to the king.
And I will talk to y'all soon on another day when you're on. And Happy New Year as well.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, let's try Virginia. Mary is calling. Good evening, Mary. You're live with the attorneys on King George Radio.
Hi, and I'm hoping that you guys can hear me tonight. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Oh, good. Well, nice to be on King and with the distinguished panel again, and I always enjoy the show. You guys make me laugh a lot.
We're talking about funny subjects.
Yeah, if we have any criminals that we can't handle, we'll just send them all on, put them on a plane and send them all to Wyoming. Right?
Wyoming.
But anyway, I wanted to ask, with the your opinions on the difference legal-wise between what is considered incest and what is considered molestation with regard to the Duggars, because I have adopted children and I have worked with foster children and have been involved, and there is a lot of incest that goes on with children that have been removed from abusive and neglective parents that are in a sibling group because they almost get comfort from that. It's not a sexual thing as it is more of a comforting thing. And I agree with Alex that sometimes you do, depending on the age when it happened, you don't want to involve the authorities all the time because they will split up the family and one child goes here and the other one goes over there. It may never happen again. So with the Duggar situation, he was 16 and he touched his two sisters in inappropriate places over clothing. To me, that's totally different than what Jared Fogle has done, who is a pedophile and a sex offender. And I want your views on that.
Alex, why don't you weigh in on this?
I think it's, well, first of all, incest is, improper, sexual activity between siblings or relatives or something like that. And that could, and it's, that is a form of molestation, whether it's by consent or not, because if you're under a certain age, you really can't consent to somebody improperly touching you for sexually gratifying purposes. I think everybody would agree, though, that the matter against Fogle was on a completely different level, because this guy was older, and he was a long-term predator. He was engaged in sexual luring young, innocent 12-year-old girls using his wealth and fame and taking advantage of them. I mean, this guy's every person's nightmare.
Absolutely.
And he looks completely inoffensive when you see him. If you didn't know him, you saw him in the street and say, "Oh, this guy's pushover." He's a monster.
Right.
And he's one of those guys that I really, really would like to see him housed somewhere in Wyoming, because over there, before they disappear you, they do other things to you before they disappear you, and that's where he needs to go. You know what I mean?
Wyoming. Dwane, why don't you weigh in on this subject?
Well, this Duggar thing is just crazy because, they're famous because they can't use birth control, apparently, because they have so many kids.
Right.
It's a sick and twisted kind of thing, just right from the beginning. So, and again, incest isn't necessarily a crime because two consenting adults can engage in incest. Where child molestation is a crime, and it's it's
totally
when
different.
Somebody's doing inappropriate things.
At what point is it considered child molestation? If the one was 14, that would be considered an age of knowing what was right.
Yeah.
It would be.
Well, it depends on what state you're in. In Arizona, you can't consent until you're 18. So even if you're 17, you can't consent to sex.
Okay.
It's basically a crime. So.
Because I can tell you this,
contact.
and this you won't see in unless you do research statistics on adopted and fostered children that have been taken away from their parents because of sexual molestation or neglect. You are going to see multiple children that have been adopted as multiples or whatever, or as fostered in the brothers and the sister. You will see a lot of incest going on between them, and it's not reported because of various reasons. It shouldn't really be reported. It needs to get treatment. it needs to have, the social authorities notified, but it's not to involve the police.
And you want to weigh in?
No, I don't think really have anything to add.
Okay. Anything else, Mary?
Yeah. The other thing is for Alex, I do do a lot of research on child abuse and neglect and crimes against children, and believe it or not, crimes of sexual abuse against children is doubled what it used to be, especially under the age of 4. In a way, can you believe of someone raping a 2-month-old, and it happens more than you can understand? It does happen. And
no, it does. Unfortunately, these are maniacs. Like I said, I know the statistics say that there's an increase in sexual violence against people,
right.
But what would be the reason for there to be an increase? I think it's been going on forever. I just think there's an increase in the reporting of it.
Maybe
that's
a
good point.
It could be that
reporting. I think
this
has been going on forever, and I think that there's greater reporting. Thank God,
But since the age of reporting, which is probably since the early 1900s or even late 1800s, you can see the gradual increase. Is that because there's more people, or because there's just more violence, more sex on the screen, more stress in life, or because are more people born evil? It's who knows? That's a question of the decade or the century to answer. But anyway, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And
Thank
happy
you so
Merry
much.
Christmas.
Thank
you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mary.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good one. And thank you to this wonderful panel. Thank you, Ann Bremner out of Seattle. Good luck with your Seattle Seahawks. It looks like they're on a 5-game winning streak.
How about those Seahawks games?
They're doing good.
Yeah.
They're doing good.
Go
they got
Hawks.
a chance. Just get in that playoffs. And
Exactly.
your Arizona Cardinals, Dwane, are looking very good as well.